On trail here, and I don't know how well this will work, but I'm going to try this. One of my subscribers asked me, and so did a couple of friends, how it is I stuff all of the things that I use into my backpack. So I'm going to do that because I'm getting ready to go out on the trail for a little 100-mile hike on the Appalachian Trail starting, well, I head to trail tomorrow, and I'll be on trail a couple of days from now. So I have to pack up anyway, so I thought I would try to pack up and talk about it as I did it. There may be some rough cuts in the video because I am literally packing up for a real hike, but I think I have everything pretty well organized, so let's see how this goes. So first, put this Nylaflume liner inside my bag. It's a real lightweight. You can hear it's kind of crinkly, makes a lot of noise, but it's very lightweight and it resists water really well. So I am anticipating that there will be some rain on this particular hike, so I need to make sure that everything that's critically important to stay dry is inside the Nylaflume. So first in that will be my sleeping bag. This time I'm going to use my Nemo Disco 30-degree bag because temperatures have warmed up on the AT. And I'm stuffing it inside what used to be a bear bag of mine that I bought from Trailful outfitter in Hiawassee a couple of years ago as a bear bag. I don't need it as a bear bag now, but it makes a good compression sack also. I know some people don't use compression sacks for their sleeping bags. I didn't for a long time, but I found that it makes the packing up and unpacking process a lot more efficient, especially for the for sleeping bags, because the down bags hold so much air. So it goes in first, and I put it in like this and turn it sideways so it sits flat. And then the next thing that goes in is a sleeping pad. This is the new Nemo Eclipse sleeping pad. So it's going to go on top of that and kind of up next to my back because it's a little bit heavier. The next thing to go in the bag will be my clothes. These are my spare socks, and this time one spare shirt, and my sleeping clothes. This is another bear bag that is Dyneema. Fairly water resistant, but now I'm going to put it inside another water resistant bag. So now that I've gotten the base set with the sleeping bag and the air mattress, the backpack will kind of stand up on its own because it's got like a foundation built. So the next thing that goes in here, in addition to the clothing bag I put in there, is my puffy. The puffy, obviously, I want to stay dry, and also I don't need most of this stuff. Actually, I don't need anything I've put in here so far until when I get into camp at night. So the puffy goes in, and I put it on the outside toward the back because when I press other stuff up against it, it'll mold to that shape. It also doesn't weigh very much because it's a puffy. And that's about all that I know that I can think of that I really want to make absolutely sure stays completely dry and isn't in a bag that I don't worry about. So with that, I'm going to straighten the Nylaflume up, and I twist it 2 or 3 times. And then I stuff the little twisted part down next to my back, so in the back of the backpack. And that, it should really keep water, at least it has always kept water off of all my stuff in this configuration in the pack. The Nylaflume bag is so important that I actually keep a spare one, which I slide in the outer pocket clear down at the bottom. It doesn't take up any, it doesn't weigh hardly anything, doesn't take up much space, but if that Nylaflume bag inside ever tears, I'm going to have a spare for that because that's critically important that stay dry. So next in the pack is going to go my food bag. This is 4.5 days of food, something like that. And it goes in next primarily because it's heavy. So I want it to be midway down in the pack at least and up against my back. One side of it's a little more flat than the other, so that side will go up against my back. And again, like with the backpack, I put this big thing in here and then just turn it sideways. And it slides right down. So now I can kind of feel I've got a couple little air pockets, little gaps. I had one friend who called this the brick and mortar method. So the big things are bricks, the smaller things I'll stick in here are kind of like mortar, filling in the gaps between the larger things. So first on that list of mortar items, because it's not supposed to rain the first couple of days I'm on trail, I'm going to put my pack cover and my raincoat. I do want the foul weather gear easy enough to get to that if weather changed on me suddenly, I wouldn't have to dig way through the pack to get to it. And then I have an emergency kit, which is small, and this is first aid for me and my gear. So there's everything from Imodium to extra guy lines in case I need them, to tenacious tape for my gear, to additional moleskin and Luca tape in case I get blisters and stuff like that. So just a whole bunch of random, backup matches to start my stove in case my lighter dies, things like that. And because it's kind of small and oddly shaped, there's a bunch of little spots that I can kind of feel around and find. Right about here, where I can just stuff this in there. It fills in a gap that otherwise is just unused vacant space. Next, we'll go my electronics. The electronics are in a Sea to Summit compression sack because it's relatively water resistant, or not exactly watertight, but water resistant, and they're pretty heavy, but I like them up higher in the pack in case I need to get to them. So I try to have them in the middle of the pack, but toward my body a little bit, so kind of on top a little bit, even though they're heavy. Then for another one of these little odd spaces, and also because it doesn't weigh so much, I have my stove, I have a cup that I drink out of, and my stove and lighter. And this doesn't weigh very much because it's just a cook pot with my stove in it, but it's oddly shaped. So it's a good thing to wait till later on as I'm getting the pack filled up to kind of find a weird gap to stuff it into. It's not going to affect weight distribution very much. Let's see. And then this is a cloth I use to wipe out the pot with. And then I'm always worried about losing my spoon. So I've started putting a carabiner on it, and then I'm going to put it inside the back part of the pack. And I'm looking for a place on my pack to clip it in place, actually, because for some reason I'm just paranoid about losing it. So then last but not least, my tent and my tent stakes. I'll start with the tent. The tent is, again, shaped in this sort of brick shape. So it's going to go on top. It's an X-Mid Pro 1. It's going to go right on top of the pack. It doesn't weigh hardly anything, and this is the first thing that I want to come out of the pack when I get to a campsite if I need it, whether it's raining or not, but especially if it's raining or looking like it's going to rain. I don't want to have to dig through the pack to find this. So it goes right up on top. And then right behind it goes my personal hygiene kit. This is my trowel to dig cat holes with, and my morning pharmaceuticals, my over-the-counter medications I take first thing in the morning, like Aleve and some vitamins for eyesight and stuff like that. And then some dude wipes, and some hand sanitizer, and then toothbrush and toothpaste. And it's really lightweight, but really oddly shaped. So it goes on the top and the back. It's on top because should I have an emergency during the day and need to get to the poop kit, I don't want to have to dig at all to get to that in an emergency in the middle of the day. That is everything for what goes inside the pack. I guess for now I will put, I take a beanie in case it's chilly in the mornings, the evenings, or sometimes to sleep in. I don't know if I'll be wearing this in the morning when I hit trail until I get to trail at altitude and see what the temperatures are. So I put it up on top. It's also soft and compressible, and so it doesn't take up a lot of space. And with that, I'm going to roll this up. I have to roll it 2 or 3 times at least. I have gotten my packing down sufficient that when closed, the top of my Durston Flash Air 50 is level with the support, so it doesn't stick up above my head. I don't bump my ponytail or my hair into it or anything on my head. Stakes. So I have a bunch of other things that go all on outside pockets, either because they're sort of an odd shape, or they're long and skinny, or I may need them over the course of the day. So I have a couple of nice big side pockets on this one, so the stakes go in one of the side pockets. For now, while I'm transiting, this is my water kit. So this is a 3-liter CNOC water collection bladder and a Sawyer Squeeze water filter. When I'm actually hiking, I break these into 2 parts and put one in each side pocket on my cool pants. Cool pants have a little side pocket right about here, just big enough for a filter on one side and the water collection on the other. But for transiting, I'm just going to go ahead and stick them in the back, because once I get ready to go to trail, they're not going to be inside the pack. And then I have, this is a vapor barrier, little water, little plastic bags, in case my feet get wet and I want to insulate them from my socks. These are just a couple of plastic bags and gloves I can put on my hands and my feet between the cloth layer and my body to help keep them dry in case I get really in an emergency situation where I've gotten really wet and I need to stay dry enough till I get to some place where I can dry everything out. And these can just be randomly stuffed anywhere. So they usually go down in this back pocket. Like the spare Nyla flume, they're kind of something I don't use very often, if at all, but they're there as an emergency thing. And then this is just a luxury item. It's a carving knife that I carry, and a hairbrush for this big mat of hair that I insist on wearing everywhere. With that, I've got I'm going to pause and go get a couple of other items that go in here, I'm realizing, that aren't in this room. Okay, now that I've smooshed everything inside the backpack that I generally put inside the backpack, there are a few other things that go on the outside. One of those are my Birkenstock plastic Colorado style slip-on camp shoes. I know camp shoes are a luxury item for some people, but I'm a big fan. So I put them in this little set of cords that I put on the outside, this little shock cord I just made myself. You can buy shock cord just on Amazon for practically nothing. And then I carry an umbrella, and the umbrella can either go in one of the side pockets, like this, or recently I've been carrying it in the middle of the back pocket because I lost one on the last trip, and this allows me to tie it down a little better. I don't know which I'll do this time, so for now I'm going to stick it in the side pocket. I may try to find a way to tie it on also to one of these side cords someplace. On top go my sit pad, which is different from the one I have been carrying. This one's actually quite a bit longer. I just took this X-Pad pad that I had and trimmed it narrower and cut about a third of the length off of it. So this is that. And then this is the doormat that I use on the ground on my brakes and also outside my tent during the daytime. These two get strapped on top. And they actually do serve as a little bit of a water barrier for when it rains. If it's only sprinkling lightly, I can just use the umbrella, and these will keep most of the water off the pack. And then I have the only other thing I carry is a fanny pack, which has things like sunscreen and a comb for my beard and a pocket knife and some writing utensils, stuff like that, just some basic stuff I want access to during the day. My phone also ends up in this. Then I have 2 water bottles which are full to simulate what my actual weight will be. And okay, so now we're ready for a weigh-in. This is 4.5 days of food and 2 liters of water and everything I'm going to hit the trail with this time, and I'm hoping it comes in at under 30 pounds. $29.5. So it's a little heavier than I wanted, but I have a little bit of extra snack food in here for the second half of the journey that came to my house late after I'd already sent out my resupply boxes. Yeah, but that's it. This is packed to go. I could live out on trail for 4.5, maybe 5 days even on what I have in this backpack. So I hope that helped show everybody how it is I stuff all that stuff into one pack. Again, it at 30 pounds, it goes on pretty easy. I add a little bit of weight when I put snacks in the side pocket, but those snacks are actually in the back now, so it just changes where the weight is. And then I wear the fanny pack like this so I can get at this stuff more easily, and it gives me a little bit more storage. These side pockets are a little bit small. They can hold a few snacks, but they can't hold my phone and they can't hold a lot of other stuff. So really just the snacks I'm going to go eat here, and anything I need access to is here. If you have any questions about how I set all this up, what I included, didn't include, the order, any of that kind of stuff, feel free to add it in the comments below. By the time you see this, I'll probably be out on trail, but I'll try to respond as I can if you have questions, or if you have suggestions, that would be even more helpful, because this setup got to be where it is because of me watching other people's videos and talking to long distance through hikers out on trail especially. So I don't have everything having a specific place in the pack that I'm dead set on, but I'm pretty close. And I am finding for my own neurotic self that having a place for everything in the pack and getting everything in its place makes my whole hiking experience much smoother and much calmer, and much more efficient. So with that, I'm gonna go set this down and finalize the rest of the stuff I'm wearing and my clothes and things like that, and get ready to go to trail. So in the meantime, happy trails to all of you.